Catherine Bigelow returns after far too long away with a film that feels so disturbingly current that it hardly qualifies as speculative fiction. A House of Dynamite on Netflix is an alarm bell disguised as a thriller. It forces the audience to live along, to live in a single most terrifying limitation of modern deterrence theory, the clock. 18 minutes in Washington, 6 minutes in London, perhaps 10 minutes in Paris, time that once generous luxury of post-war statecraft has collapsed. And the premise of the film is ruthless in its simplicity. An unidentified ballistic missile is inbound to the United States. Chicago is the calculated target. The nation's defenses fail. The president must choose whether to retaliate before impact, knowing his decision would unleash the destruction of millions far beyond the initial blast. Bigelow and the writer Noah Oppenheim structure the story as three retellings of the same 18 minutes, each from a higher rung of authority. The missile defense crew in Alaska, the National Security Command, and then the president himself. Each version ends with a blackout, silence, impact, no resolution, because in real life there are no resolutions. There may be no resolution. Bigelow's direction is taut. She orchestrates chaos with an almost balletic precision. Her editing team keeps the pace breathless but never sloppy. This is The Hurt Locker reborn as a sort of repetitive nightmare. We're not alone. We're not watching heroes with steady nerves and wire cutters. We're watching institutions sweat. The military confidence, the polished jargon, the immaculate command chains are exposed as brittle before nuclear immediacy. Bigelow allows that brittleness to speak for itself. If deterrence fails even once, professionalism offers no comfort. We have no other. We have no other solution. Performances are uniformly strong, though Rebecca Ferguson in the Situation Room emerges as the conscience of the film. Steely resolve, cloaking deep fear. Anthony Ramos grounds the Alaska sequence in a kind of honest soldiering that threatens to break under the weight of uncertainty. Idris Elba, as the president, brings authority edged with dread, conscious that his briefing on responding to missile strikes lasted minutes while his briefing on judiciary appointments took days. Power without preparation is the most dangerous power of all. The choice to withhold a cathartic ending is not a gimmick, it's a challenge. Bigelow and Oppenheim refuse to release us into tidy safety. We must leave the film still wrestling with the question, what would we want the president to do? Accept the nuclear murder of Chicago without reply, risk signalling national submission, or retaliate with trident-scale vengeance and hope the enemy was correctly identified. Both are monstrous, both are plausible. The film's technical grounding is formidable. Terminology is delivered at speed, reinforcing how modern... I want to use the term global politics, but I really don't, because I hate it so much. I dislike that term. Global power relations relies on systems few civilians understand, yet we all depend on these. There's an implicit commentary on the UK throughout. Britain's missile warning depends first on US systems such as SBIRS and RAF Fylingdales. Britain's interception capabilities are limited. A Prime Minister might have as little as 6 minutes to decide whether to fire back. The President of the United States has 18. A successor to the letters of last resort would govern the aftermath. The film therefore forces a British audience to confront how little defence separates London from the fate of Chicago. Critics who accuse Bigelow of lionising the national security state have misread her entirely. This is not triumphalism, it's indictment. Every character is competent, admirable, even selfless, yet the machine they inhabit is incapable of certainty. Even when working flawlessly, it may doom us. The Secretary of State in the United States is doomed in this film. If the Cold War offered doctrines of mutual annihilation, this era offers unprovable intent. What if the missile is conventional? What if attribution is ambiguous? What if retaliation hits the wrong capital? Bigelow invites us to consider the unthinkable not as hypothetical but as a new ordinary, as Russia assaults Ukraine with ballistic missiles almost nightly, as Iran and Yemen fire on Israel, as Kaliningrad sits 6 minutes from Downing Street. The film's terror lies not in fantasy but in recognition. These are imperfections. The repetition, while conceptually necessary, flirts with tedium for some viewers. A handful of personal subplots feels obligatory rather than earned, but these blemishes barely matter. The film's moral force is overwhelming. In the final blackout, we are left with the simplest and most unnerving truth. Civilization depends on a single human mind, making a decision that cannot be correct under conditions that allow no time for thought. Our leaders cannot deliberate nuclear survival. They must gamble it. This is the house of dynamite that we all inhabit.